Hey everybody, I'm Dees Hinton, the owner of Central Mississippi Real Producers, and welcome today to our podcast edition. And we are coming to you today on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody! And we are coming from Partee Photography Studio in Pearl, Mississippi. I want to give shout out to KP, Kaylin Partee, who is our videographer and photographer at Central Mississippi Real Producers, and has worked with us for going on 5 years now. And KP does a great job. He does videos of all of our events that we do. He does reels and podcasts and all for us. And he's worked and done some personal stuff for me as well. He does a great job, and we thank him for helping us out with these podcasts. So. Also, for those of you who might be tuning in that don't really know what Real Producers is all about, Real Producers is a franchise, actually, that I brought here to Central Mississippi 5 years ago. We've been doing this for 5 years now. So, and what Real Producers is all about is we celebrate the top real estate agents in Central Mississippi area and help connect our top agents in this area with top industry professionals that are in this area and that realtors work with. So we're all about relationships. We're all about connecting people and helping them to connect with the people that they want to do business with and build relationships. And we do it through our monthly magazine publications, where we will feature top real estate agents in our area, and as well as our partners in our area.
Our newest one just came out.
That's the latest edition.
That's
our February edition, our Valentine's edition. And
there's a copy of an ad for our special guest today.
Yeah, we'll show that.
He's always in our magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also have quarterly networking events, social events, which are, I think, nice. We have
a lot of fun.
We have good participation from the real estate community. They love it, and partners are there, and they get to hang out and connect and shake hands, hug necks, and socialize with the top agents in our area. Which, to me, having been in business for a long time, relationships are what it's all about, and that's how you do business. And I don't care what your profession is. You've got prices that are important aspect in doing business. You got features and benefits that are an important aspect in doing business. But when it comes down to it, relationships are what seal the deal and take you a long way in your business relationships. So today I have with me Gingerlyn Wallace, who is the creative marketing director for Central Mississippi Real Producers. And also she is the owner of G Designs, which is a interior decorating and staging business that Gingerlyn works with lots of realtors in our area to do that. And welcome, Ginger.
Thank you.
And also today, I'm glad to announce that I have one of our partners and longtime partner, Sean Cornwell, with Mississippi Mortgage. And welcome, Sean. And Sean and Mississippi Mortgage have been a partner with Central Mississippi Real Producers from the get-go, pretty much, for going on 4 or 5 years, or I'm not exactly sure what our length is right now. But anyway, welcome, and we're glad to have you here today. And we're basically just going to talk about you and your life, anything that you want to share about yourself and your business, and the whole purpose of what we're doing is for the ones that watch this to get to know you better, which again makes it easier to build relationships with you. So welcome, and Gingerlyn, I guess I will kick it over to you to get us kicked off. Yeah.
All right, Sean, you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's do it. So tell us, before we jump into, banking and mortgages and all that fun stuff, who are you? Who is Sean?
Sean Cornwell.
Who's that guy?
I think
Where'd he
I think
grow
I'm
up?
finally figuring out who I am at the ripe age
I know.
of 43,
I know,
about to be
real.
44 in a few months. We'll just kind of talk about my background and professionally.
Okay.
Graduated from Central Oklahoma with a design degree, which
Really?
I really comes in handy with what I do with mortgages. I kind of consider myself a mortgage designer,
I was
which
gonna
I've
say,
said
are you
that I
being
think in the
sarcastic?
article.
Really? That's
No,
interesting.
so in design, you're really tasked with a client coming to you, or you may not even have a client. You may see something that is not the way it should be. Something's wrong with it. There's a problem.
I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, and you've gone to school for that too, I think. So you kind of understand that as a designer, you're looking at anything where there's a problem, whether a client's coming to you with a problem, or you just notice one and you want to create a better solution for that problem. Solve that problem.
Wow.
And a lot of times in design, a client may come to you and tell you what they think their problem is,
That's
but
right.
really there's an underlying problem before that.
Okay.
And you've got to be able to identify that first before you can design the correct solution, to solve that problem. So coming from a design background, when I got into mortgages, and I've always been kind of very balanced right brain, left brain person, really good at math, but also very creative. So in mortgages, if you get a client that comes to you, they all have the same problem. They don't have enough cash to buy a house, but they all have a different situation. So I've got to be able to go in and look at what their situation and find out the different problems involved with their situation. And then based on the rules in front of me with the different loan programs we have, I've got to be able to design the best solution for them. And they may qualify for 2 or 3 different programs there, but one of those is always going to be better for them than the others. Sometimes based on how long they may be in the house or, other factors. But and I see a lot of lenders out there that are putting borrowers in the wrong programs. We get borrowers brought to us all the time that have been at another lender. Maybe the deal fell apart. A lot of times, I get loans brought to us where it has fallen apart at the last minute, like the week of closing.
Right.
And they're not getting straight answers, sometimes because the other lender, is trying to hide because they should have caught something up front, and they'll kind of give them some other reasons that aren't the real reason. So then I'm tasked with, trying to figure out what the real problem is and how can we solve it. A lot of times we can save it. And what I find is the other lenders are putting them in the wrong programs to begin with, or they just didn't structure it the right way to begin with.
Okay, so you graduate with this design degree.
Mm-hmm.
How did you end up in banking? There had to be some kind of path that got you there. What was it?
Well, so through a set of circumstances, when I was in college, I was actually with some buddies of mine. We had been looking at opening up a coffee shop, and that kind of morphed and changed. But we had met a guy who was looking at trying to open up some fitness clubs and a kind of more holistic hot coffee shop, juice bar.
Okay.
Got involved with him, but he was in the real estate also. And that's how I kind of fell into real estate.
Okay.
And I was on the real estate side to begin with and became friends with the CEO of that real estate company in Oklahoma at the time. Then he asked me to come on board about a year after I graduated college to be their marketing director.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had about 125 agents, and I was starting out at a little $23,000 a year salary, and was super excited. But then I started seeing how much these realtors were making,
Right.
and I was like, well, I can do this. I can do it better than most of these guys, and they were making at least $60,000, $70,000 a year, not doing a whole lot.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I can do this. So after about a year, I stepped down from that. But we had a sister company that was a mortgage company, and I've. That side of the business interested me more than what I was doing on the real estate side.
So you got your license, worked as a realtor for how long?
I had my license before I came on as marketing director, but it was just kind of a little part-time thing.
Gotcha.
Wasn't terribly active with it. So then came on as marketing director, decided to go active full-time after a year. And then about a year later, I had, learned more about the mortgage side. And I was like, I think I'm going to be more suited for this side.
Gotcha.
It interested me more, and I thought I would do well there. So shifted there. That CEO of that real estate company moved back to Mississippi, where he was from.
Okay.
Then we opened up a mortgage branch out here, and the rest is history. I've been out here 17 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, Yeah.
So you've been with the same company for 17 years?
No, not the same company.
Okay.
There's been a few changes, but I was, there's a lot of mortgage guys that switch companies quite frequently, and it's not necessarily their choice. It just happens.
Right.
Companies, rise and
Get
fall
bought out
a lot
and
in our
things.
industry. I was fortunate to be with the same company for, over a decade. And there was a few little, changes in there, but it was the same company the whole time. And then we made one change about 5 years ago, and we've been at the same place since then.
Okay.
That's when we rebranded as Mississippi Mortgage.
Okay, so Mississippi Mortgage, and you are the branch manager.
Yeah, I run our Mississippi operations, so
Okay.
branch manager and loan originator. But most of my income comes from what I do as a loan originator. So I built a team around my production.
Okay. Where's your office located?
We're at Airport Road and Lakeland Drive.
Okay. All right. How many people?
That's in
are in your-
Flowood.
I know that.
Well, for others
We're-
that
For
are
others
watching
that don't
this,
know that, okay.
Sorry, yeah. If you don't know where Airport Road and Lakeland Drive
To me,
is,
like, you
then
know
you're
that
probably
is.
not from here.
Yeah, that's right. In
And for all your
Flowood.
Oklahoma homies, that's in
Yeah, and if
Flowood,
you're not from here, it's good to have you on the podcast.
That's right.
Listening from wherever you're listening from.
That's right. That's right.
So did you grow up in Oklahoma?
Yeah. Well, my dad was in the Air Force, so we moved around a lot. Ended up there though when I was in 5th grade. So
Okay, but you've been in Mississippi for 17 years.
Yeah.
So you're official Mississippian.
I'm an Oklahoman.
Been in Jackson area for that long, or
Yeah. I've been in Jackson since '06.
Okay, wow. So tell me about your team over there at Mississippi Mortgage.
Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people on our team. Yeah, and there's more than that, but those are the ones that are actually part of my branch.
Sure.
And when COVID hit, we started hiring some remote employees, and now a majority of my employees on my team are remote.
Oh, wow.
I have 3 that are here locally, but one of those works remote from home, and the other 2 are in the office with me.
Okay.
And everybody else is in other states.
Okay. Well, and as far as like banking and lending goes, I mean, the name of your company you're operating under is Mississippi Mortgage. So I feel like you do kind of primarily
Yes.
deal with mortgages. So explain kind of that versus maybe a different type of lender.
Right. We strictly do residential mortgages. Now we've made a few changes that are going into place over the next 30 days, and we will have some extra products that'll be on the banking side that we'll be able to offer, like portfolio loans, construction loans.
Okay.
I mean, right now we can do the permanent part on a construction loan whenever the house is finished, but we'll be able to offer the construction financing. I mean, we'll have chattel loans. We'll also be able to do like people that are doing short-term construction, like maybe guys that are flipping properties that may buy a property, want to renovate it and turn around and sell it. We'll be able to do that kind of thing and some land loans. So we'll have some other things. I get calls about that stuff all the time, and a lot of times I have to refer it to some buddies I have at other banks. But we'll be able to have that really soon. But other than that, we do all the normal residential mortgages all the way up to 4 units. Whether it's we do have some HELOC products now. Yeah, which has become more popular because there's a lot of people who have lower interest rates and they may want to tap into some equity they have in the property, but a cash out doesn't make sense for them because they'd be going to a higher rate on their entire mortgage. So doing a HELOC where they can just, borrow against that equity has become a lot more popular since rates came up, a couple of years ago.
So tell me, maybe, there's so many lenders, so many different, banks out there and people who are offering services. So why come to you?
Well, experience-wise, I've been doing this for a long time. And what I tell realtors when we go speak to them, because a lot of our referrals come from realtors. And when lenders go in front of realtors, a lot of times they're saying the same thing. Hey, we have this product, this product, this product. And most of us have a lot of the similar products or access to them. But for instance, like your Mississippi Home Corporation down payment assistance programs, and they got a tax credit program, we're able to do all those programs. And I have the staff that I've hired to be able to handle the extra paperwork involved on doing those programs. So you may have a buyer that goes to XYZ bank or lender who is on the list able to do those programs, but they either don't have the staff to handle the paperwork or they just don't know how because they've never learned how to do them. And so a lot of times they'll have a borrower that comes to them that qualifies for the tax credit or for one of these down payment assistance, and they won't even tell them that they qualify for it. So anytime a borrower comes to us, even if we have to do the extra paperwork and they qualify for those programs, we're gonna present that to them and get those programs for them. So that's why we've been probably, the fourth quarter results for Mississippi Home Corporate just came out. I had posted on my Facebook page. We were number one for the MCC tax credit program last quarter.
Really?
We usually are every quarter. The quarter before that, we were the top producer for their MRB 7, which is their $7,000 forgivable down payment assistance. And then of course with Scotsman's Guide, which is the big mortgage originators magazine, they do it once a year. They'll do their annual top producers. Usually I'm in the top 3 in the nation for USDA volume. So we do a lot of the USDA, which is the rural development program that qualifies in areas that are more rural in nature. Right. But it's 100% financing. Right. So that's another program that involves some extra paperwork. Right. I was top in the state of Mississippi for purchase units the last few years in a row. So we're experienced and we know what we're doing. But we tell realtors, look, we got a product that everybody wants. So don't be afraid to go out and tell people what you do and what you're selling, because you're not selling some obscure product. But as a lender, once they have a buyer, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, us that are in commission, sales, that's the way we're paid. We're going to take the amount of money we made and divide it by the hours we worked. And that's really how much we make per hour. Right. So my goal is to make as much per hour as possible, and that means that, the realtor is referring the buyer to me. Their goal should be the same thing, to make as much money per hour as possible. So if I send them out in a car to show houses to Mr. Buyer, and then they find a house, put it under contract, maybe the seller, has been waiting for a while, and now they've got it under contract, and 3 weeks goes by and he gets in front of an underwriter, and the underwriter says, why in the world did you put this loan in front of me? This doesn't work. This doesn't meet guidelines. Right. Then guess what? That and the seller lost time. There's a whole number of people that, spent time on that will never get paid. Right. And the heartache for that buyer who thought they were going to get into a house, and then the seller who thought they were going to be able to sell their house and move on to the next chapter. It's horrible. And it happens all the time. Right. And a lot of people aren't held accountable for those types of things. So I take what I do very seriously. Right. So that, the reason that we have realtors that have sent us business for years is because they know that when I give them a pre-approval letter for a buyer, that they're going to make it to the finish line. Right. Outside of, there being inspection issues or, some kind of title issue on the house, sure. Or maybe just, something, unexpected happens, like a buyer loses their job, in the middle of the process, which things that we don't have control over. Right. That's one reason, the biggest reason why I would tell someone to use us or to come to us, to help them with their financing, is because we have all the programs. We're going to offer them whichever one is the best one for them. And we've got the experience and the staff to handle all of it. And we've been proven time and time again as top producers.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, and I can only imagine that using a lender that is specific to the state and specific to, real estate versus somebody, a corporation that maybe handles so many different things. Y'all really focus on and specialize in Mississippi, what they are, what is offered here, and also, those types of loans and that kind of thing. So you've got like a specialization almost.
Right. When we rebranded, almost 6 years ago, we rebranded as Mississippi Mortgage because that's primarily where we do loans. I'm not trying to market in all these other states and areas and spread myself too thin. Right. We stay as busy as it is, just right here in our state, and most of our business is right here in central Mississippi. Right. So, when we're, talking to realtors and I don't remember where I was going with that, but,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, obviously, you can, if you needed to do a loan that's out of state, you mentioned that before, you can do that. Like if you have a client that moves or something like that, you can still handle it, but that primarily y'all are Mississippi focused. Right.
Yeah. We're focused right here in our home state.
Yeah. I think that we were talking earlier also about just, partners, coming to us, and they come to us through referrals most of the time. And so you're definitely one that's been highly recommended by several of our realtors. You work with so many in our community. And I think, I asked you that question. Why would people want to work with you? But I know that Deez and I would say, you're very well connected. You're somebody people can count on. And that's definitely, something that we've seen.
Yeah.
Show up for our events.
I still meet with realtors every week, and You get recommended to me all the time.
You end up on that list a lot of times.
Yeah. So
So for sure.
Well, and we're really appreciative of you guys. I get most of my clients just because I sit at my desk and we get loans done. We get them to the finish line smoothly.
Right.
And I don't do a lot of advertising. I don't post a lot on social media. Part of that's, by design, because if I do, I'm afraid I might get too much to where we can't handle it. We always want to be able to give good customer service. But the problem is when you're good at what you do, you're going to get more business, and then you got to be able to handle that and still give good quality customer service without letting every buyer and realtor talk your ear off for 30 minutes, on the phone or in person. But but we're really appreciative of you guys. You're one of the few outlets that I actually utilize for any type of advertising. And that's because you guys are able to put us as, vendors or, advertisers in front of our main target market, which as lenders, my main target market really is the realtors, not just the buyers, because the realtors are the one that are bringing us and trusting us with their buyers. So to be able to get, in front of and come to these events quarterly and get to rub shoulders with, the realtors that are sending us business, and then meeting new realtors that are out there that we haven't done business with before is really invaluable to be able to go and do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like we said, Sean came to us because of recommendation. So, people can count on the fact that you are going to bring them, the best service, and they know that other realtors have recommended them, which is the same with all of our partners. They come to us from recommendations from the top producing real estate agents. And that's how they get connected with us. And then our agents know, hey, if I use somebody on this list, that they're getting somebody that's, that's recommended and that's worked with real estate agents before and that type of thing.
Yeah. You have an opinion on what's going on in 24 with prime interest rates and mortgage rates and any forecasts?
He's like, oh, the question.
I know you have an opinion. I shouldn't have said that, but you're in an industry that's highly affected by government and regulated by government as far as prime interest rates, which have some effect on mortgage, I guess. But
right,
and the economy, obviously, too. So, what do you see coming up?
Yeah, I watch the market every day. I've got the service that we pay for that. Tracks it really well, as far as like the mortgage-backed securities markets specifically in the 10-year treasury. So, rates had gotten up close to 8, December 27th is when they got back down to the lowest, which really the rates dropping, between the holidays really jump-started some buyers getting back out there and looking. So we've had probably the busiest holiday season, because usually your applications slow down between the holidays, which translates into your two slowest months for closings, which are January and February traditionally, on our side of the business. And we had a pretty dismal January and February last year, because that was the first year that rates had really jumped up. So this year, we've had a great January and February. I closed 19 in January. We're going to close close to 30 this month. Wow. And that was due to the rates dropping. I really believe that was one of the direct things. And so a lot of more buyers are starting to, get back out into the market again. Rates have started to just slowly incline since December 27th. Monday, we had Monday? It was yesterday. Sorry. Yesterday, we had the largest jump in the wrong direction in a single day that we've had in a while. But today they recovered a little bit. As far as outlook for the whole year, you could poll 100 experts on this, and they're all going to have a little bit different opinion. And usually it's based on however that's going to serve them best for what they do.
Sure. What about it being an election year? You see an effect?
Everyone talks about that being an election year, that typically you see rates drop as you get closer to the election. And we may see that. If you go off the law of averages or whatever, then you can say, yeah, that's likely to happen just because it's historically happened before. But will it happen? I don't know. Some of that's going to be dictated by what happens with the economy, which is more directly, related to what we see with the mortgage-backed securities market. Whenever that data comes out, every week. That's how we see it react. Plus what happens in other world markets and things like that. If they do drop as we get closer to the election, I really think that, some people are like, we hope they get back down to 3 or whatever, but that's not going to be good for the economy at all. And especially for our, industry. Really, I think somewhere around 5, give or take, is more the sweet spot. Even if we get back to 5.5, I'd be thrilled. Start getting much lower than that. We've already got problems where we had, massive inflation in the real estate market when rates dropped. People fighting over houses, and we still have an inventory problem now. And a lot of what people are finding out there that's in affordable range, have repair problems. So we've got a lot of buyers that are buying, getting under contract and then backing out, once they get their home inspection because there's just too many repairs. So we're seeing that a lot. So if rates drop too far, it's going to bring in a lot more buyers back into the market, and you're going to start seeing people fight over properties again.
And they're going to raise the price of the house.
And then they're going to bid them up again.
So
and we're going to be
paying more anyway.
Right. And we've already seen, like, for instance, in 2021, when I was number 1 in the nation for USDA volume, I did about 33 million in USDA volume that year. And most of the USDA loans I do are in areas that are right outside the city limits where all the new construction is being built. So, majority of our USDA volume in years past, and we've always been one of the top producers for USDA, has been new construction. Well, when rates dropped, new construction prices skyrocketed too. So, up in north of Madison, where your starter homes, brand new starter homes, had been starting, in the 225, 230 range. Now they're 280, to begin with. So it's hard to find a house anywhere in our central Mississippi market, and especially around the metro, brand new construction that's lower than about 280, 275.
I think that's such an important point. There's so many buyers out there who are sitting and waiting, and they're like, oh, I would just need those interest rates to drop down. But, like you're saying, if you wait and they really do go that low, you're going to end up paying more
right.
for the house, or you're going to miss out on the house you really wanted because there's a bidding war. I mean, it's not really the smart thing to sit and wait.
Right. No. So I tell people, look, if you could find a house that meets your needs or your wants, if it's, and of course, and you can afford the payment, maybe it's a little bit of a stretch,
right?
But if you know that you can do that and make some other sacrifices, then the best time to buy is right now because, and I've seen people post about this on social media a lot. So I'm not the person that's coming up with this philosophy or whatever, right. But it definitely makes sense that, if you buy now, you're going to buy at today's price.
Right.
Okay. If the rates drop and everybody starts bidding things up, those prices are going to go up. Right. So if you wait, you may be able to get a lower rate, like you were saying, right. But you're going to be paying a higher price. So when you do the math on it, the payment's going to be pretty similar, or it could be more, right. Even though your rate's lower. So, we tell buyers all the time, look, if you need to, if it's something that you need to do, or this is what you're wanting to do, or you think it's the right move financially to own a house instead of renting and throwing away your money or living in mom's basement or with family, which doesn't benefit you really either. I mean, unless you're just saving a bunch of money and you're able to do something. And sometimes it's not, buying a house isn't for everyone. Sure. But I would say that, it's for most people, and it should be
the financially smart
right.
way to do.
So buy now, and then look, if the rates drop later, guess what? You can refinance. We're offering to where if buyers come back to us that have already purchased, we're going to credit them $1,500 towards their closing costs when they refinance. So that's a big deal.
Awesome.
So they can refinance to a lower rate, but they still bought the house at
that's right.
today's market price,
Yep.
So 2 years from now, rates drop. If they would have waited and got in the market, they'd get the same rate as they could when they refinanced, but the house is higher. So their loan amount's going to be higher. So, right. Now is always the best time to buy if you're looking to buy, if you can afford it and make it work.
That's right.
You know what the mortgage rate was on the first house I bought?
13%.
15%.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. In the 80s.
That is so painful.
And I wasn't trying to age you there when I said that.
I'm old. I'm old, real old. But so somebody posted, speaking of social media, somebody posted on social media the other day all the interest rates from about 1970 something to current.
Oh wow.
And it gave
be
a
interesting to
good
see.
perspective of
Mhm.
what's going on right now. Interest
It's not
rates
that
are not
bad.
outrageous compared to
Right.
the 80s and some of the times that have jumped up really high.
Yeah, I think I've seen those, to try to put it in perspective. And I think the historical average on rates is somewhere in the sixes, over the lifetime that,
Yeah.
mortgage rates have been out there. So we're really not right now. We're in line with the historical average. I think the difference of where we are now versus the 80s and 90s when rates were higher is that home prices were a lot lower back then. Median incomes were lower, but really not that much lower. And that's the problem that we're seeing right now that we're running into, especially with like first-time home buyers and trying to find affordable housing for people, is that, home prices have inflated a lot. Rates are up a little bit higher. Yeah, they're not 13%, but, 6.5% on a $250,000 house, is still a higher payment than 13% on a $60,000 house.
Right.
So, and over the last 15 years, we haven't seen, minimum wage increase. And, I got in the business in 2006 on the mortgage side, coming over from the real estate side. And
Perfect time to be
in
business.
right before the '08 crash. But, from that point to now, I would say that the median income, for, middle income families hasn't increased that much. So that's where it's making it tough right now. And it's really not just the rates. It's the fact that home prices inflated, as much as they did.
Well, rates affect supply and demand, and supply and demand affect home prices. And supply and demand affect everything. Matter of fact, but
yeah, and that's why I think over the next 10 years, you're going to see some alternative products entering the marketplace, and ones that are already available are going to, you're going to probably see a lot more people turning to those products, like manufactured housing. We do a lot of manufactured housing loans, and we've seen a big uptick on those lately. Single wides, double wides. We've got those down to a science, and we can do those with down payment assistance and some other products. 100% USDA loan. We've got a one-time close product if you want to do a brand new one. I actually, when home prices started going up, I saw this problem happening. So I started doing all my homework on the side, and I actually have a development now right outside of Mize, Mississippi, where we're going to have 42 lots, and we're going to sell manufactured homes. Not like a trailer park. It's going to look just like a normal subdivision. Right. Set at an angle. They're going to be, wooded lots, about 1.5 to 2.5 acres. We've got our first 2 on the ground right now. So, I see a huge opportunity with some alternative products like that, because you can get a, 2,300 square foot manufactured home, 4-bedroom. And they're beautiful on the inside. They look nicer than a lot of the new starter homes on the, stick-built construction.
You see those a lot in college towns.
And you can get those for just a little over, like on that setup down there, a 2,300 square foot, you can get it for about $230,000. Where if you're going to get a 2,400 square foot brand new house anywhere in the Metroplex, on an actual stick-built starter home, I mean, you're going to be well over $350,000, $400,000
for sure
for that square footage.
I've seen some advertisements for some of those newer manufactured homes, and they really do look like normal houses.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and the exteriors are their front elevation exteriors are getting a lot nicer too. Of course, they're a little bit more plain because they're kind of a big rectangle, but they really look nice.
They do.
I've
seen them.
They do. I mean, they're houses. They just bring them in with a truck and put them together.
Yeah. That's right.
I've seen them. Yeah.
But I mean, it probably is helping some of these families who, can't afford the inflation and the cost of living and stuff like that. So it's a good option, and then you've got, what they need to get that loan, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Hey, anything else that you would like to say to the realtor community out there, or buyers, or?
Well, yeah. Anybody who's listening, kind of what we said is, if you're a buyer and you haven't bought a house yet, or if you're a potential buyer and you've been thinking about buying, it's free to try. So we get realtors that text me sometimes. They have a buyer, but they're really scared because they're afraid their credit's bad. Okay, well, if your credit's bad, your credit's bad. Yeah. And until you know, right, until you know what to do to fix it, then you're just going to be sitting there thinking your credit's bad. I mean, where is that going to get you?
Right.
So I tell, potential buyers all the time, and realtors who are dealing with buyers that are scared, to say, look, it's free to try. Right. We're not going to go broadcast what's going on with you because that's illegal.
And it doesn't hurt your credit.
And it's not going to hurt your credit. If your credit's already bad and we pull it and it knocks it a few points, which is highly unlikely anyway, the point is that you need to find out where you currently are by talking to a professional, who knows, what they're doing as far as credit goes, and then come up with a game plan, and it may take you a year, could take you 2 years to get to that point. But if you're disciplined to do that and you're willing to go through the right steps, then you can become a home buyer faster than you think. And what's wild is a lot of times buyers who express that kind of fear, when we get them to try, they're really not that far off. A lot of times they're ready right then. I'm like, your credit score is like a 680. What are you so worried about? Right. And they just didn't know. And that's one thing that I wish that, and I know there's a couple states that have introduced legislation and now they've got programs in the schools, but I think that's one thing that's missing from, high school education is
financial literacy,
a class just on credit reports alone, like how your credit works, which really wouldn't take that long to teach. You wouldn't need a whole semester or anything like that. But if they would implement something like that, it would be huge, because a lot of people, their parents aren't teaching because their parents weren't taught. But that's what I would tell buyers. And, realtors, I would tell you that you need to find a good lender that knows their stuff that you can send to, because with the market becoming more challenging, if you're just sending off to here and there and everywhere and deals keep falling apart, or you may not even know that there's some buyers that they're turning down that may be able to get done. But find a good lender, and, if y'all are in this area, or, even outside of this area listening, reach out to me. We'd love to be a resource for you. We get a lot of deals brought to us, like I said, that have, fallen apart other places, or they can't make them work. And we'll at least get them straight answers. Our goal is to get you straight answers, because we want to create a buyer at some point in the future. If it can't happen now, we want to give you the keys and the game plan to make it happen at some point in the future. So I tell realtors all the time, come to us, and our goal is to maximize a higher percentage of the buyers you bring to us than the other guys are going to be able to do. And we've got some sharp guys in mortgage guys in our area. So I'm not saying that we're better than everybody else, but we're one of the best, and there's some other guys that do a great job too. And we rub shoulders all the time, and we chit chat, and, but find you a good lender. If everybody brought their stuff to us, we wouldn't be able to handle it. But we do get a lot of, like I said, stuff brought to us that won't work other places. And those realtors only bring stuff to us when they want us to fix it. So I would tell realtors is like, look, we can handle the easy stuff too. And we've got just as competitive rates as everybody else. And my team will get it done smoothly. We usually close ahead of time. We get clear to closes way early, give everybody the option to close early. Very rarely is a closing delayed. But bring us the easy stuff too. We love the easy stuff. But we'll take whatever you can give us.
Handle the hard stuff if you need to.
Right. Well, we can handle the hard stuff. We've proven that.
Yeah. Well,
awesome. This was fun.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us today and sharing with us.
Sharing your Valentine's with us.
Yeah.
And thank you most of all for your support for Central Mississippi Real Producers. I really appreciate
you bet
you being a partner and all that you've done to support us over the last 5 years. I really appreciate that. And realtors out there, it's people like this that support us to be able to do what we do, which is to celebrate you as a realtor and share your story and share your success. And so do business with Sean and my partners, all my partners. On page 6 of our publication every month is a list of all of our advertising partners that we work with. And so realtors, these are people that we want you to do business with.
And look for Sean's ad, although he said he updated it. So the next one's going to look a little new.
Well,
Have a date
yeah.
change, I think. Or,
But this
Yeah,
is
we've
the
been busy.
Mississippi Mortgage. You've been busy. And so his name and information is there as well as on page 6.
yeah.
Give him a call. Reach out.
Yeah. Gingerlin, tell everyone where to find us.
Okay, we need you guys to subscribe, please. Help support our partners, help support our agents, and be one of the first ones to know when new podcasts are released. So if you go to YouTube and you search Central MS Real Producers, it should pop right up and you can hit subscribe. And then any podcast platform that you prefer, whether it be Apple or anything else, you can go on there and search the same thing, Central MS Real Producers, and it's going to pop right up and you can hit subscribe. So we would love for you to do that. Join us. And we do always post our podcast links on our Facebook page. Make sure you are following that. And we have an Instagram too. So, hey, we have all the things.
Yeah. And if you guys need me, my application link is real simple. It's just msmortgage.com, which is MississippiMortgage.com, but msmortgage.com. And then my phone number is, I tell people it's similar to the most, what I think is everyone considers the most famous Bible verse, John 3:16. But my phone number is 316-SEAN, SEAN. So 601-316-SEAN. So if you need me, that's where you can find me.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. That's
This
cool.
is neat.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, Gingerlin. Thank you, Sean. That's going to be a wrap for today. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Thanks again, Kaylin Partee Photography, and we'll see you next time.